what is it about radiology that makes me ask this question? What I wish I knew before going to radiology school. Let me tell you, I wish I knew all the modalities that were available to me. Let me tell you why I say that. Because after 20 years in the field, there are so many opportunities beyond just patient care. So if you're a student and you're watching this, you definitely want to really take notes, because there's some things I'm doing now that I'm like, really? You can do that? So number one, I wish I knew more than just the patient care side. For me, that was all that was presented. And maybe 20 years ago, that's all that was available. But now there are so many things that are available. I'm going to touch on three things that I think every new student, anyone thinking about radiology, anyone that is, even in the idea of wanting to go into the medical field, look at radiology. I just interviewed the ASRT president, June. He'll be announced. He's going to be on my podcast. So my podcast will be going live with his interview. So I'm so excited to have that interview and have that opportunity to interview Mr. Brandon Smith. I'll also put a link on here for you guys to be able to actually click on that podcast and be able to go over there and take a listen to it. But I wish I knew that when I went to school for radiology, you did not have to be registered in anything. You could still do the modality. Most of us learned it on the job. There weren't many schools. But once people started coming into the field, they started having schools. So you had to pay to get registered, and you had to have a certain education before you could go, and actually apply to schools. No more kind of on-the-job training. A lot of places required you to go get the classroom setting as well. But you could still scan on the job, if that makes sense. So I wish I knew all the modalities. Number one, I always wanted to do radiation therapy, but it was only like one school, and they only took like 7 or 8 people. And people were like on the list for years. So now you see more radiation therapists coming out, but it actually worked in my favor because there were no jobs by the time I would have gotten out of radiation therapy school. So I wouldn't have had a job, and I would have had to go back to x-ray. But I was able to, in my second year, actually do CT as a student. What people don't tell you, now I don't know how it is now, but when I was a student, you have 2 years of work. And I was able to actually get my work done in 1 year. I just buckled down and I did it. 1 year, I got everything done in that 1 year. So by my second year, I was able to float through every modality that was available to me and realize what it was I wanted to do and which ones I did not want to do. I wish every student had that opportunity to be able to float through all the modalities. PACS was not a thing back then. There was no picture archiving system. So we didn't even have that. That didn't come to like my last year, and they really didn't really know what to do with it. So now you have that. Informatics, you can go to school for that. You can get certified in all of those things. That is a big opportunity for people. I tell you, if you are not on the technology side or interested in technology side, definitely look at the informatics. It is huge, huge, huge. The other part that I wish I knew more about was not just travel work, but really about travel techs. When I was in school, they talked about getting travel assignments, but they made it like, you don't want to do that. It's not secure. It's not guaranteed. Maybe 20 years ago it wasn't, but I traveled a couple of years after I got out of school, which was, not that far after 20 years. And I had no problem getting jobs and keeping travel assignments. I actually turned down a lot of them because I realized I didn't want to be away from my family that often. So I didn't mind like travel jobs here and there, but I didn't like the 13-week. My husband wasn't doing radiology at the time, so that didn't really fit our schedule. But I just hate that people did not really allow you the opportunity to really understand all that was out there. And travel is not a bad thing. And I think more people are seeing that now. People are really sorry my camera is shaking because I got it propped up in my car because I wasn't planning on shooting this in my car. But again, I can't get in my house because we used the garage and I did not bring my key to my house today. So I can't get in. So we're just making this work. So I'm trying to prop this up because my hands are truly getting tired of holding this phone. So, but we're going to make this work. So, yeah, see, I'm going to go back to holding that, but I don't want to cover the camera. So those are the two things that I would definitely encourage is informatics, go into and learn about informatics. The second would be really look at the travel tech part of it, because you can get some good travel assignments. Traveling now is not just 13 weeks. There are so many travel assignments that are like 4 weeks, 8 weeks, and it's more flexible. You can negotiate. I wish I knew early on that you can negotiate your 13-week contract. You do not have to accept the 13-week contract. You can say, hey, let's negotiate this. Let's do a little less time. And if I want to extend, I can. Those are all options. So that's one thing that I wish I knew. Those are the two things I wish I knew. And third, I really wish that more people would encourage technologists to get certified in at least another modality. That was not really encouraged, because I guess it wasn't really required when I finished school. You could do anything. You could go learn on the job and do any assignment. You didn't have to be certified in it. But the ART changed that. And you had to now be certified, ART certified in modalities. So you had to get exams, whereas if I would have just went on and got certified in everything like everybody was doing back then, I knew guys that were certified in mammography. They were never going to do it. They've got all of these certifications. They just paid the $150 and got their certification before it came down the line that you had to take the registry. So I wish at least people would encourage students or others to at least get registered in one modality, because I think it gives you options. What if I was to have to get a, something that wasn't MRI safe as I aged, or, in my body? I wouldn't be able to do MRI anymore as a technologist. So where would I go? Back to X-ray, which is no problem. But what if I wasn't physically able to do that? At least I would have the option of CT. At least I would have the option of mammography, or the applications. I can now do applications. So that's why I definitely encourage, and I'll talk more about that as well. But those are the three things that I wish people had really encouraged and talked about when I was in school, and really advocated for. So that's what I wish I knew before becoming a radiology student and a technologist. But I love it, and I hope you guys love it too. And if you're thinking about going into radiology, make a comment at the bottom. I would love to know, are there any students watching this? If you're in the field of radiology, how long you've been in the field of radiology, and what's your specialty? Thanks for following. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment. I truly appreciate you guys subscribing to my page, and I'm going to be way more consistent. Thanks again. Have a good one.